Welcome to chapter 8. So there used to be a popular phrase going around. I don't know if it's currently popular or not, but usually in a movie or something of that sort, there would be a young person in front of some fuddy-duddy authority figure, whether it's a parent, grandparent, teacher, whatever. And whether they use these exact words or not, the principle is there. They're telling them in this declaration, I need to go find myself. Now, most often, the context is that even though they are grown up, most of the time, sometimes it is a very young person, they don't really know who they are. They're having self-identity issues. They're not satisfied. Now, I acknowledge that many believers will use this phrase as well, but again, kind of like follow your heart. A lot of people, most people, I would say, the common person out there in the world, uses this phrase as just weak language, bumper sticker terminology, to use a phrase, to communicate the principle, the concept of just discovering what God's calling is on your life and to pursue that. But in all of these, you're still dealing with the same principle. Who am I? Identity issues and a dissatisfaction with wherever you are currently. Now, Abraham Maslow was one of the most famous psychologists of the past century, and he was a brilliant man. Brilliant. He was a humanist. He wasn't a believer of any kind. He was nominated to be the president of the American Humanist Psychology Association of Association of Humanistic Psychology. I got it right. And one of his most famous theories, which most people will have heard of, is called the hierarchy of needs. And that's from a paper in about 1943 or thereabouts called A Theory of Human Motivation in a scientific journal of the Psychological Review. And at the bottom of the pyramid are things like food, water, shelter. And this pyramid builds up to, at the top of the pyramid, represents the height of human existence. The human experience, if you might say. And he coined the phrase self-actualization and put it at the top of the pyramid. And there's a natural, real-world reality to you have to have food, water, and shelter before you can pursue other things. And he is quoted as saying, a musician must make music, an artist must paint, a poet must write if he is to be ultimately happy. What a man can be, he must be. This need we may call self-actualization. And the dictionary actually provides us with the following definition: the achievement of one's full potential through creativity, independence, spontaneity, and a grasp of the real world. So self-actualization is a more sophisticated, elegant, nuanced, educated way of saying, I need to go find myself. And this is can be broken down to, like, I need to go somewhere else to find something that's missing, and the thing that's missing is me. Who I am. I don't know where I am, and I have to go find it. Now, this is it's a real world issue. I mean, what is called self-actualization, because your mental, emotional, and sometimes even your physical health can be affected if you are questioning your identity, your purpose, who you are. It's a real problem. So that's the topic we're going to talk about today. And let's see if Proverbs has anything to say about this. So we are in chapter 8 this week, and we're going to begin simply in verse 1. It says, "Does not wisdom cry? Question mark. And understanding put forth her voice? She stands in the top of high places, by the way, in the places of the paths. She cries at the gates, at the entry of the cities, at the coming in at the doors. And unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is unto the sons of men." Now the text continues, and the rest of the chapter is the speech that wisdom then gives. So chapter 8 is again one of those chapters where there's a single story. Wisdom comes out, gives a speech, begs to be heard, and begs to be heard, much like the prophets that would rise up early and call out to people. That is what is happening in our chapter 8. So we've already read a passage similar to this. It was in chapter 1, actually, of Proverbs, where it said, "Wisdom cries outside," not in some closed room somewhere. "She utters her voice in the streets." It's not in private. "She cries in the chief places of concourse." In other words, not off in some dark alley somewhere. "At the opening of the gates." That's where all the legal business took place. That's like where Boaz took the elders of the city. "And in the city she utters her words." She's not out in the cow pasture where there's nothing but sheep. So everywhere wisdom goes, it is begging to be heard, is always in a high traffic, high profile location. Wisdom is making itself obnoxiously obvious. It's literally the modern equivalent of getting the loudest, biggest bullhorn ever made and standing up and preaching at the Supreme Court hearing, or at the porch of the White House, or in the middle of Congress, in the middle of Wall Street trading. It's at the busiest intersection of the world, and at the porch of every church where people are going inside. So wisdom is being, again, obnoxiously obvious, begging to be heard for people to yield. So does it sound like you need to go somewhere else to find wisdom? I don't think so. So in verses 8 and 9, wisdom says this: "All the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There is nothing froward or perverse in them. They are plain." Plain. Plain. Plain to him that understands, and right to them that find knowledge. Proverbs 17:24 says, "Wisdom is before him," before meaning with, that denotes proximity. "Wisdom is with," or before him, "that has understanding, but the eyes of a fool are in the ends of the earth." Again, does it sound like you need to go anywhere to find wisdom? I don't think so. Deuteronomy 30:10-14. Let's see if this will shed a little bit more light. "If you will hearken unto the voice of the Lord your God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law, and if you turn unto the Lord your God with all your heart," turn has a choice there. We've talked in previous chapters of guiding our heart, not following it. Turn to the Lord with all your heart and with all your soul, verse 11, "For this commandment which I command you this day is not hidden from you, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven that you should say, Who will go up and get it? Go up for us to heaven and bring it unto us, that we can hear it and do it. Neither is it beyond the sea, that you should say, who will go over the sea for us and bring it unto us that we can hear it and do it? But the word is very close to you, in your mouth and in your heart. What does that mean? That you may do it. So we've covered I need to go find myself. So we've kind of figured out you maybe don't need to go anywhere. But now let's talk about the yourself. The yourself that the people are trying to find without God being the important factor there. The next to last verse of this chapter, this week's chapter, says this, verse 35. For whoever finds me, wisdom speaking here, finds life and will obtain favor of the Lord. Whoever finds me finds life. Who does that make you think of? Now, when you put yourself and your heart as the highest priority of importance to seek after that self-actualization, I have to seek after that. You're not doing what Yeshua said to do in Matthew 6:33 and Luke 12:31. It says, seek you first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these other things, that hierarchy of needs, those things that are real. Not discounting the reality of them at all. These things that you need, he knows that you have need of these things, shall be added unto you. And so we are commanded to pursue, to seek wisdom, the kingdom of God. So think about just one other thing here. Let's go back to if you found me, you found life. There's only one person who really says that. Says that I am the way, I'm the path, I'm truth, I'm life. This verse in Deuteronomy, it says it's in your heart. Well, there's something about the covenant being first written on tables of stone and then ultimately being written on the table of your heart. But who does that? Who is the Word made flesh and comes to dwell in our hearts? Isaiah 12:2 says, the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, and the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. What is the beginning of wisdom? The fear of the Lord. Luke 9:24 says, for whoever will save his life will lose it. But whoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it. Hebrews 5:9 says, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all that obey him. Is it any wonder that we're commanded to seek wisdom? So my ultimate point is this. Yes, the hierarchy of needs is real. You have to have food, shelter, and water. Yes. Reality. Absolutely. But you can't seek the self-actualization, or you will end up losing yourself. Scripture tells us that if you seek to save your life, you will lose it. The only way to experience actual, real self-actualization, to use the terminology, again, it's a real world reality, again using that term, is to fulfill our the highest possibilities of our human existence, is that you really can't do it in your own strength. Self-identity, finding yourself, purpose, and the satisfaction that comes from the knowledge that you are doing what you are created to do is a real thing. But it's found in the Messiah. It's found in the Messiah. It's found in the Messiah. Heeding the voice of wisdom that's crying out, calling all men to come to himself. So doing this is not, I'm going to find buried treasure and I have it now and I'm done. So the same way there are degrees of closeness in human relationships, the same is true with our relationship with him. We are commanded to pursue him as a lifelong, insatiable pursuit. So let's close with a couple of verses here. It says, the fear of the Lord, wisdom, tends to life, and he that has it shall abide satisfied. Satisfied. That's why people say they have to go find themselves or they need self-actualization. They are not satisfied. And it's very easy to not be satisfied, by the way. He shall not be visited with evil. The fear of the Lord tends to life, and he that has it shall abide satisfied. Wisdom. The Messiah. Psalm 17:15 says, as for me, the writer speaking there, I will behold your face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I awake with the likeness of my self-actualized self. No, it says, I shall be satisfied and when I awake with your likeness. One more time, Psalm 17:5. As for me, I will behold your face in righteousness, and I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness. And one last one here, Psalm 17:11. You will show me the path of life, for in your presence is fullness of joy. At your right hand there are pleasures forevermore. Real self-actualization. Satisfaction, knowing that you are doing what you are supposed to do and fulfilling the calling on your life, comes from knowing the Messiah, pursuing wisdom. Lord, help us to apply it to our lives. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.